Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. So we are the presenter of the group 4. So our topic for today is all about the harmful traditional practices and educational disparity. Kasama ko sa topic na ito sina Rusaifa Daud, Jamil Diyang, Camille Diyang, and Jeremiah Kyle Ferolino. So what is harmful traditional practices? So the harmful traditional practices is one of the most prevalent manners in which children and young people's rights are violated. Harmful traditional practices are forms of violence which are accepted as part of cultural practices in specific countries and contexts. At Quram International, we work to eradicate these harmful practices through conducting research into the root causes, implementing transformative programs of change, and consulting on local and national legislation regarding its individuals' practices. Isa sa pinakamasakit para sa ating mga kababaihan bilang isang Muslim yung pagdudwaya. Kasi iba yung epekto Iba yung epekto, sobrang laking epekto ng pagduduwaya sa isang pamilya, lalong-lalo na sa mga anak. So, nawawala natin sila ng karapatan na magkaroon ng masayang pamilya. Pero wala tayong magawa. Nasa culture na natin mga Muslim ang pagduduwaya. Kung ito ay kayang pagtimbangin ng lalaki ang love niya doon sa dalawa. Pero hindi meron talaga mangunguna doon sa dalawang taong yun. So now let's proceed on the stage of harmful traditional practices on this context. So the first is early child marriage, female genital mutilation, corporal punishment, scarification, and last is honor killing. So the early child marriage is an issue that is pervasive still across many countries due to economic, social, and cultural norms. The reason behind this marriage are varied. Often parents arrange the marriage unbeknownst to the child, and many are arranged for economic purposes as it can mean one less person to feed. However, in an attempt to escape poverty, many are only perpetuating poverty. Married girls more often than not leave school, so they then lack the skills to lift their families out of poverty. So maraming cases dito sa atin ang early child marriage. Yung iba, nagpakasal or ipinakasal ng kanyang parents dahil sa pera or para makawala sa kahirapan. So ang pinakamasakit dito is yung ipinakasal ka ng mga magulang mo para pambayad dun sa utang nila doon sa isang matandang lalaki. Yung iba naman ay ipinagkasundo ng kanyang parents sa kanyang kamag-anak para hindi na daw malipat yung pamana or mapunta sa iba yung kanilang yaman. So that's all. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rusaifa Daud. My topic today is female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation is a practice most often carried out by traditional circumcisers who often play central roles and communities. It is a violation of the human rights of girls and women and reflects deep-rooted gender inequality and female discrimination. So, ang female genital mutilation is ito yung ay isang kasanayan na kadalasan ginagawa ng mga traditional na circumcisions na kadalasang gumaganap ng mga pangunahing tungkulin sa mga komunidad. So ang mga epekto nito ay maaring matagalan ng pagbabanta sa buhay at nakakapinsala sa psychological. And ang panganib ng implikasyon o kamatayan dahil sa proseso ay mahusay na dokumentado ngayon na maraming mga batang babae ang namamatay sa panahon o pagkatapos ng proseso dahil sa pagdurugo. So, the next is corporal punishment. defined by the Committee on the Rights of the Child as any punishment in which physical force is used and intended to cause some degree of pain. Corporal punishment is still prevalent in numerous countries worldwide. An issue many children face a daily basis. Corporal punishment bridges their human rights to respect for dignity and physical integrity. The Convention on the Rights of the Children requires states that have ratified it to prohibit corporal punishment. Ang corporal punishment is tinutukoy ng Committee on the Rights of the Child bilang anumang parusa kung saan ginagamit ang mga pisikal na puwersa at nilayon na magdulot ng ilang antas ng sakit. So sa local na antas, issue ng corporal punishment is dapat din kilalanin dahil madalas ay may disconnect sa pagitan ng mga batas at patakaran sa pambansang antas. So ang katotohanan sa lupa para sa maraming mga bata. Sa maraming estado, ito ay nakatanim sa loob ng panlipunang dynamic ng mga komunidad at particular ay isa ring pinapaboran na pamamaraan ng pamamahala ng pag-uugali kapwa sa loob ng tahanan at sa mga paaralan. Corporal punishment is the infliction of physical pain upon person's body as punishment for a crime or infraction. Corporal punishments include flogging, beating, branding, mutilation, blinding, and the use of the stake and pillory. So, ayun nga, ang corporal punishment ay kabilang sa mga corporal na parusa ang paghagupit ng pangbugbog, pagbabrand, mutilation, pagbulag at paggamit ng stake at pillory. So yun lang, that's all.
So assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is a reporter from the group 4. My report topic is all about the harmful traditional practice and also the educational disparity. So I am the third reporter from this representation. So this is a continuation of a reporter presentation. So ito yung pang-apat, the scarification. So scarification, it is a harmful practice, stupid and tradition. Scarification, it is the custom of making and superficial incision one's skin. This is a normally to use using a knife, stone, or piece or glass, and the process come about as method of symbolizing identity, whether is representing a connection to a spiritual or tribal group, demonstrating a particular status, position within a community, or distinguishing a soul passage into adulthood. The most example for this scarification, it is the Africa. So ang Africa ay gumagamit sila ng tattoo para sa kanilang traditional na identity, or this is a symbolic of spiritual and tribal group. Ito yung palatandaan sa kanilang paniniwala o kanilang tribo. Ang isa pang halimbawa nito ay dito sa South Thailand. Ang paniniwala naman dito ng mga katutubo ay ang paglagay ng mga aritos o sa kanilang leeg at pagpapahaba nito. Ito ay itinuturing sa kanilang pinakamaganda. Next naman is honor killing. Honor killing is a practice that involves that na murder person, normally at the hands of their family or local community members. honor killing happens due to the belief of that person accused and tarnishes the family honors and undermine the authority of men. Women are the chief victim honor killing, and this perceived actual behavior that lead this practice include illicit relationship, a refusal to accept that forced marriage, loss of virginity, or breaking and shame of the family by being raped. An honor killing is the murder of the family members, usually a woman perceived has been brought shame upon the family, often the violating traditional norms. It's a human rights violation driven by the partial belief in the illegal in most countries. So, ang example nito ay ang mga kababaihan. Ito yung pinakaunang biktima sa pag-rape, pagkatapos samantalahin ay pinapatay. Ito yung pagpatay ng mga tao na pinagsasamantalahan pagkatapos patayin. Assalamualaikum everyone and good day. And I am Grove 4. Today I discuss about the educational disparity together with Jeremiah, Kyle, Ferolino, and so when you see educational disparity means that not everyone has equal access to good educations. This is often based on factors like race, income, or where you live. It means some kids have better schools, teachers, and resources than others, which leads to unequal learning opportunity and outcomes. Like for example of educational inequality or disparity is a students of Hispanic to descent being placed in lower labor classes due to the race. So which leads to unequal learning opportunities and outcomes. Inequality in education means a system under which all the sections of society are not given equal opportunity to get education. In India, change in political, economic, and social life are a result of education inequality. Choose who are educated to take maximum benefit out of the system and take maximum concessions from the choose and authority. Educational inequality is the unequal distribution of resources, which includes school funding, qualified and experienced teachers, book, and technologies to socially inclusive communities. So, proceed naman tayo sa cause of inequality in education. So, socio-economic factors, a wide gap exists between the rich and poor. This wide gap is an obvious cause of educational inequality. Wealthy member of the society can buy expensive and better education for their children. Like for examples in private schools versus public schools. So wealthy families can afford to send their children to private schools, which often have smaller class size, better resources like advanced technology and specialized programs, and more experienced teachers. So children from low-income families typically attend public schools, which may face budgets constraints and have larger class size, fewer resources, and potentially less experienced teachers. This difference in schools quality directly impact on learning outcomes. And also religious beliefs religious beliefs can be a variance of with formal education requirements. For example, in predominantly Muslim areas, for education lags behind because of religion. In other cause of inequality educations is ang kasama ko lang po ang mag-explain. Thank you.
Good day everyone. So my name is Jeremiah Kyle Perolino and i-continue ko po ang report sa cause of inequality in education. Lack of national education system. Nationalization of education has not yet been possible in our country. So there is a huge difference in structure of education, curriculum, and in standard of schools, evaluation systems, in standards of requirement and training of teachers in different states. Government has no control over private institutes. Dahil sa lack of national education system, doon nagkakaroon ng uneven standard sa ating education system, and dahil sa ang government is walang control over private institutes. Next is lack of adequate educational institutions. In various regions of our country, there is no standard educational institutes. In rural areas, inaccessible mountains regions, areas of isolated settlements, institutes for primary education can be seen, but there is no institute for upper primary level. Meaning, sa mga isolated areas or sa mga bukid na lugar is ang meron lang kadalasan is elementary to high school. So yung mga student sa community na yun is nahihirapan mag-proceed to college because sa lack of upper primary level sa kanilang lugar. Next is lack of qualified teachers. Lack of qualified teachers is another obstacle for equality in education. Not just there are still untrained teachers in primary and secondary level. So, it means na kulang yung mga teachers na meron tayo. Next is lack of girls' school. Because of discrimination and economic problems, it has not yet become possible to establish girls' schools, which is a hindrance for equality in education. Next is lack of teaching aids. For successful teaching learning, teaching aids have an important role. There is lack of teaching aids at schools level because of financial crisis. Dahil kulang yung resources, it affects the student learning capability. Difference in standard of educational institutes, infrastructure of institutes, standard of teachers, teaching learning, co-curricular activities, etc. are different in schools of villages and towns, in government or government-aided institutes and private institutes, and it is a vital cause of inequality in education. Next is regional differences, school in town. In developed areas, there are many schools and colleges in close proximity where students are getting much more opportunity than those who are living in regions where there is no secondary school or college or primary school in close proximity. So, hindi talaga pantay-pantay ang accessibility ng mga school para sa mga estudyante. So, yun lang po. Thank you.